Welcome to the Pupil's Life, everybody. What's going on? What is going on, man? Is everybody doing all right? Is everybody fucking checking in with themselves and with the world? It's another fucking Monday, right? It is another Monday, and if you're unemployed, man, I hope you have something that you're doing, you know? Because if I didn't have, like, daily goals, I don't know that I would have made it, you know? I might have been one of the ones that added to the tally, you know? I would have been one of those people that, you know, you could use in an argument for, like, well, but Corona is causing more than just... The economy shutdown is causing more than just Corona deaths. There are people that are killing themselves. You know, dude. It's like if from March, I had not had a job, and I had to just not have a job and not have goals and just fucking, like, play video games all day. Like, if I had to relive my summer in my high school summers and grade school summers, I don't know, man. I don't think I would have made it, you know? I would have fucking jumped off a fucking bridge or, you know? There's not really a bridge I could do that with in Austin, but I don't know, dude. Climb the fucking Chase Tower. Get a good look at the city before you say goodbye to it, you know, and maybe strap some wings to me and tell myself that it was because I wanted to learn how to fly. Jesus, Nick, that was dark. You got dark right off the bat. I don't like this anymore. I'm not gonna listen to this. No, but obviously I hope everybody's doing better than that. It's the first year that I've heard the term super summer. But boy, does it make sense to me now. You know, for the longest time, I've enjoyed 100 plus degree weather, and this is the first summer where I'm like, I don't dislike it, but I can see how, you know, you need to do some things to take care of yourself. It's not just, you know, I've gotten days where I don't drink any water, and then I have a headache when I wake up, and I'm like, oh man, I wonder if I slept on my neck wrong or something. And it's like, dude, you haven't had a sip of water in 28 hours, and you think it's because you slept on your neck wrong, dude? Get a fucking clue, man. That's what I feel like telling myself sometimes, is just get a fucking clue, dude. You know? Get a fucking clue, Nick. Apparently I've been missing out on fucking thousands of dollars of unemployment, and that feels great, you know? You know? It's fucking, what is it? It's so awesome when you realize that for absolutely no reason at all, you were just not getting $1,000 per week in fucking free money, you know? And that in that time, you were, like, worried about money. You know, it's so fucking true that we limit our own perspective. It's like, where am I going to get money? And meanwhile, the government's like, hey, do you want money? Fucking, do you want some free money, dude? And of course, I applied for it today, and it's this whole fucking rigmarole, dude. Like, it's the reason that I didn't do it. You know, there is a reason that I don't do these things, and it's what happened today. I'm sitting in the fucking living room, and my fucking earphones just said power off, dude. What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean, dude? all right, I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that it works out. That's what I do with most things in life. But yeah, dude, I was sitting in the fucking living room, and my brother's right there with me, right? And he already did it. So he's like, yeah, dude, it just takes like an hour. It's no biggie. I start fiddling it out, and it's like, God, are you currently looking for a job? And I'm like, arguably, I'm like being hard on myself on these questions. It's like, am I being the fucking judge of whether or not I deserve these things, dude? Or like, am I trying to not get myself this money? And then it's like, why did you leave your job? And my brother's like, oh, just tell him because your manager called somebody a faggot. And I'm like, dude, that's not gonna. I don't think that they're gonna give me free money because my manager called somebody a faggot, dude. I don't think that that's how unemployment works. But if it is, man, I mean, maybe I should have been honest. I opted to write down emotional distress. And it's just such a, these things are so, there's something must have happened to me when I was younger that I just hate doing this kind of shit, like applying for college, dude, and fucking dropping out of college. When I was in high school, I thought dropping out of college was just like, hey, I'm not going back, dude. Fucking, I'm done with this. Peace. Turns out it's not that easy, especially if you've got a scholarship. Then it's even harder because it's like, now we gave you some free money, and you got to figure out how to make sure that fucking money doesn't go to you. It's white people problems, but I don't remember when that might have happened. I mean, it must have been like the college era or the high school senior year. But I just really despise having to fill things out, and like, oh, do you have your tax returns from 2016 available? It's like, no, I don't have a fucking document from 4 years ago at my disposal. Okay, am I supposed to? My brother was like, oh, are you the kind of person that deletes stuff? And I'm like, motherfucker, why am I expected to keep a fucking email from 2016 in my inbox? That's like, it's almost like the government is encouraging hoarder mentality. Like fucking, hey, Bill, why do you have 3 buttons in your bathroom drawer? Oh, well, I'm just, you never know when you might need a button. It's like, fucking, dude, why do you have 50 emails that are dated 2016 with fucking, like your tax returns on them? Like, who are you holding that for? The fucking morgue, dude, when you die, for your fucking last will and testament? Like, what good is a tax return if the tax has been returned? It's so dumb, man. It's so dumb. Like, whoever thought of just how policies and governmental businesses, agencies, all that shit works, I feel like it was somebody that was like a fucking, like a vice principal at a high school, or like one of the founders of our educational system. Because it doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. It is cool, that you get free money. If I get free money, but what are the odds? It always happens too, and maybe it's because I have this belief, but I'm gonna have a fucking counter behind me that says podcasts since last sneeze, and it's always gonna be at 0. Dude, I don't know if I have corona or if I'm just fucking not sleeping well or what it is. Or if it's allergies, dude. Can allergies last like a month? Because I feel like I've had a heavy chest for a month now. You know, I feel like I've had a heavy chest for a month now. Will you get off my back? Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just, the thing is that, you know, you can look at things and you can say, like, man, this sucks. Like, I can look at the government agencies and the fucking unemployment services. Oh, you gotta file 10 papers and fucking, if you want to make $200 a week. And I could look at all that and be like, dude, this is flawed, this is boring, this is stupid. Or I could just laugh. Because it's fucking hilarious, you know? To think of people, dude, like me, that are trying to file their fucking unemployment thing. And then it's like, you know, so have you been looking for jobs? And you're like, there's yes and no. There's not like kind of. and then you hit like yes. And then it's like, all right, well, sorry, yeah. You hit yes. And then it's like, all right, well, here's a website that'll fucking help you to find more jobs. So fill out that form too. And I just picture all these people like me just like, motherfucker, dude, another website? Is this what I'm going to do on my Sunday? My day of rest? Is what I have to... Now, my day of rest is going to be spent fucking looking for free money, dude? Where was that in the Bible, you know? Where was that in the fucking Bible? Jesus should have written some shit about that, you know? And on the 10th day of Lent, I don't even know if that's fucking the Bible or if that's Judaism. Dude, imagine being like a scholar that knows, that thinks he knows, right? Because nobody lived it. Imagine being a scholar that has read all the texts and is convinced that he knows like everything about religion and all the different religions, and he just brings it up in every fucking conversation that you have with him. It's like, dude, I'm on my third beer, man. I don't know. Should I get another one? Well, you know, it was Theodore 10:15 who said, "Thou shalt pass the fourth item, thou shalt sint the fifth item." Like fucking, you know, I don't know, dude. There's something not wrong with those people, but there's something fucking off, right? When somebody thinks that they know, like, for sure, dude. Oh, dude, for sure there was a Christ. Oh, dude, and for sure, not only was there a Christ, bro, for sure his dad is God, bro. But no, dude, like, Christ is God, bro, but his dad is God too. And so Jesus is the son of God, but Christ is Jesus, and Jesus is everyone. You know, and you're like, what, man? This is what you study every day? You study this every day, dude, and you can't even explain it to me? You study this on a daily basis, and you can't even explain to me what it is that you're studying? Oh, this sounds like high school, dude. This sounds like high school. You know, man, like, I wish I could go back. I wish I could have a fucking lucid dream of when I was in high school and just be sitting in, like, my economics class. And my teacher, you know, his name was Zachary, dude. My teacher's just like, so, yeah, if in order to have a successful business, what you want to understand about economy is that goods and services back in the 1700s, and just interrupt him and be like, hey, what about the internet? Just fucking like, can you teach me about the internet, dude? Because that's the future. Can you teach me about the internet? And hear him like, well, the internet didn't exist in the 1700s, dude. And just, I don't know, man. Maybe it's mean that I want to fucking try to, like, put him on the spot, you know? But they put me on the spot all the time, dude. I didn't hate high school, but it was so dumb, man. It was so dumb. Like, all right, next up is Laura. She's going to be giving a presentation on Theodore Roosevelt. And she fucking Googled something on Wikipedia, dude. Or on fucking .gov. Because that's what they told us was like a better source. And then she presents information that is available to all of us on the internet. She puts up a fucking slide, a PowerPoint, and she's like, Theodore Roosevelt was born in and he was one of the presidents of the United States. And like, and you're just sitting there, dude, like, looking at your best friend, like, dude, this is school? You know? This is school, dude? And then you got somebody like me that goes up. And the teacher's like, all right, everybody welcome Nick up. He's going to do a presentation on Cambodia. And I fucking researched it like the night before. You know, copy paste the shit. And you're just like, you know, you're looking back. Do you remember that shit? You got your PowerPoint and you're like, you memorize the first line. You're like, Cambodia is one of the countries that is in the African continent. The Tigris River runs across it, and all your fucking friends are like dying laughing in the back, and the teacher's like taking notes. You know, like you're showing that you've learned something, dude. It's like you're just this close to shitting your pants, dude, is what you are. That's all that fucking high school is different situations where you come this close to shitting your pants. That's all that high school is. And then, you know, maybe once or twice, once if you're lucky, twice if you're not, you actually shit your pants. Or you sneeze like that, and you get kicked out of the fucking classroom, dude, right? Never gonna forget it. My French teacher, Andrea, if you're listening to this, peace be with you. Andrea, yeah, she would tell me, you know, that's not a way to sneeze. Leave the classroom, please, if you're not gonna sneeze like a normal person. And I would just, you know, as she was in fucking mid-lecture, I would hoesh you like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe my experience was tainted. Dude, my fucking Instagram account almost got hacked. Right? And that's kind of exciting, dude. I don't know if it's ever happened to you. It's never happened to me the way that it happened to me this time. Like, it's never happened to me in real time, you know? Because what happened was I tried to log into Instagram on my computer. I was going to post something, and I tried to log into my computer. And it just showed me like the sign in, the login page. And I was like, dude, it normally is just always signed in. So I type in my information, doesn't work. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I've got like 8 passwords. Which one was it? So then I'm like, all right, I'm just going to reset it. So then it logs me out of my phone too. But then I go into my mail and I see that it's already been trying to reset my password. And I go back into I look my fucking Instagram up on incognito mode. And it doesn't say Nicholas Gomez anymore, dude. It says like Michael fucking Exili, dude. From fucking, where was it, dude? Like New Hampshire? It said New Hampshire, but then it also said somewhere on the African continent. So I wasn't sure, like, are 2 people fucking colluding, trying to hack me? And so it's like you're like gathering all this information about your livelihood, dude. Not my livelihood, but like, you know, they could if you hack my Instagram, I feel like there is a way to go from that to my bank account. Somehow, you know, there's probably some fucking message where I was like, hey, is it okay if I PayPal you? And like they sent me a link, dude, and then you can follow that link. I don't know, dude. The point is, it was happening in real time, and so I was like, oh, fuck, dude. So I go into my email, I reset the password, I type it into my phone, it works, I log in, and then I try to type it into my computer, and it's like, oh, wrong password. And I'm like, what, dude? I go to my mail, it says that it sent another fucking reset, but to a different place. And the dude is changing my phone number. Like my confirmation phone number. He changes my confirmation phone number. So now I'm fucking like, I can't even send myself a text, dude, to the two-factor authentication thing, whatever. I can't even do that. And so I do this like 6 or 7 times, right? I change it, he changes it, I change it, he changes it. He changes the name on my fucking Instagram. He changes like the link so it leads to some fucking, you know, probably some Bitcoin bullshit. And then I'm just like, dude, I'm like sweating, right? I don't even know if my brother was here or not, but I'm sweating. It's super summer, dude. It's 110 degrees outside. I'm sweating. Somebody's hacking my Instagram account. And I'm not a fucking expert computer person, you know? But for a second there, I felt like I was in CTU. You know, I felt like I was in the show 24, the TV show with Jack Bauer. And I fucking worked at CTU, like, you know, all right, it looks like we gotta log in Cambodia somewhere and fucking like, all right, we gotta reset the password. You know, fuck, like I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just pretending that I did and like trying to like, all right, fucking type into Google like how do I recover an account if it was hacked, and it's like send yourself a confirmation email, but the email has already been sent. There's like no option for that, so I'm like scratching my head, right, ripping hairs out of the back of my head. Sweating, and I'm getting angrier as it happens because I'm like, dude, I know exactly why this happened. I know exactly why and how I'm being hacked, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. When I was coming back from Illinois, dude, this is so like my what is it called, my shadow, dude, like the thing that you try to avoid the most, like the thing you try to avoid being like the most, the thing that you think you are the least of. This is what came out with me. Was I was driving back from Illinois with my friend Chris, and he's fucking passed out, right? He's zonked out. And so I'm like driving, you know, and I fucking start to check my phone. I'm like, all right, because I'm keeping an eye out for an email from like a freelance project. And I get an email, and it's from Square, where the guy was paying me. It's from Square Payments, and the email says like, hey, we're gonna withdraw $175 from your account, and it looks like a fucking like a professional like Square payment online email. And so I'm like, wait, what, dude? They're gonna take $170 away from me? And it just so happened that the freelance project I was working on had sort of taken a downfall. Like, it was not going well, so I was like, dude, is this guy, like, fucking suing me or something? Like, my brain just started coming up with narratives for why this was happening. And I bought into them. You know, I was like, fuck, dude, this guy figured out a way to get $170 back from what he paid me. He fucking took money that I deserved because I already did the work for him. And I'm just like getting all riled up, dude. And then so I look at the fucking email. It says like, please go into your account to fucking, if you have any questions or whatever, dude, right? So I'm like, I click the link. And then it sends me to another page. And it's like, type in your email and your password to log into your Square account. Like it looks like Square, dude. I'm like, oh, I'm logging into Square, dude. I type it in, dude. And it's just like, thanks. And I'm like, thanks, dude? What do you mean, thanks? You said if I had any questions. Thanks. What? And so I fucking log out. I'm like, I click the link again. And I type my password and I email it again, dude. I type a different password. I think that's what I did. I typed a different password and it's like, thanks. And so here I am, dude. I'm driving 100. What was it? It's not 100. That's impossible. I was driving 90. I was driving 90 miles an hour, dude. Because that was the max that his car would go on like the autopilot kind of thing where you don't have to push the pedal down. I'm driving 90 miles an hour. And I'm fucking like looking at an email, you know, going down like a farm road. There's no other cars. It's not. Even though, you know, when I fucking took my driver's ed test, that's exactly the road that they were driving on when they killed like a family, dude. They whole documentary that Werner Herzog made. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm driving 90. I think it is. I'm driving 90 miles an hour. I've got my phone in my lap, dude. My best friend is fucking zonked out. He doesn't know that I'm sort of like texting and driving, dude. His car. And I'm also being scammed by some fucking dude that made his email look like Square. And so I'm just thinking to myself, like, wait, fuck. Why did I... What happened? Right? Like, I'm driving 90 miles an hour, and I'm like, what just happened? And then it hits me like, fuck, dude. This means I gotta do, like, a lot more shit now. Right now, somebody's got my email and my password. 2 of my passwords. This means I've got to fucking... This means I've got to be driving, and I've also got to be doing, like, a full-time job on my phone. And I just started freaking out, dude. I was, like, fucking, like, opening up tabs, different tabs on my phone. I changed the password on a couple different things, but I didn't have enough time to change it on everything. And I was just like, dude, you know what? You're reading a book on meditation, man. Like, dude, everything in its right time, everything in its rightful time. Just let this go, man. Just focus on the task at hand, man. Just drive, man. Just focus on the task at hand, all right? Everything's going to work itself out, man. And then a week later, I'm fucking sweating balls in the super summer 110-degree heat because somebody hacked my Instagram account. You know, I'm very... I don't know if the word is gullible, but I'm very fucking easygoing in times that I shouldn't be. Or in times that are gonna bite me in the ass, you know. And I don't even know how I beat the guy, you know. But that's the silver lining, is that, like, I was getting hacked, dude, and I out-hacked a hacker. And I don't know how to hack, dude. But I fucking winged it. Wung it? Dude, imagine if it was wung it. Dude, I wung it the other night. I winged it. And it was like I changed my email to a different email that he didn't have the password to. And then I changed all of my passwords on everything. And I recovered it. But I just remember the feeling, you know. And I compare it to CTU, which is like the counter-terrorist unit in the show, in the TV show 24. Because that's how it felt. Like, it felt like the bad guys are trying to steal my identity, which is what they're doing with fucking Jack Bauer in every season. And I've gotta be the fucking mole, dude. I've gotta be the guy that like figures shit out. It's not what the mole is, dude. Sometimes I say shit that doesn't even make sense just because I don't know how to end a story. But that's a great fucking show. 24. Dude, I remember, speaking of that TV show, I remember in 4th grade, this is so embarrassing. I had a girlfriend in 4th grade, but I think it was before she was my girlfriend. Or maybe we were like fighting. I don't just remember that like she knew that I liked her, so maybe we were together. But we were like upset. Or we weren't even upset. That's what's embarrassing about it, dude. Is that we weren't even upset. I was just creating the narrative in my head. Even at fucking 10 years old, I was able to do this kind of shit. I was creating the narrative in my head that she didn't like me, dude. That I was unlovable. And so I was like brooding, dude, at 10 years old, because I watched The OC. I watched fucking 24, dude. I was trying to be like Jack Bauer and fucking Tony Almeida, dude. Do you remember? Dude, if you don't know what 24 is, this isn't going to be funny to you, but if you know what 24 is, dude, Tony Almeida, his fucking... I just remember, this is so dumb, dude, but I remember in 4th grade once, I was sitting in a classroom, and my girlfriend was sitting in one of the desks, you know, like, diagonal from me. And I remember that she was, I could like, look at the fucking, like, chalkboard, and then if I wanted to look at her, I had to do this. I didn't have to turn my head, I could just look and, like, do this. And there was an episode where Tony Almeida did that look, right? But he did it as he was conveying an emotion of like being like, he was being questioned. And so he was like, you know, being kind of suspicious, dude. And I just remember, dude, this'll, like, I didn't have this conscious thought, but I was just, the way that I thought back then was like, whatever I saw done in a movie or a TV show, I was going to model that in my real life. And so I was like, oh, dude, I'm upset. I feel like, you know, because I created this idea in my head that maybe she doesn't like me. Like, things are being questioned. I'm being questioned. Like, so I, like, got upset at myself and at the world. And I was just, like, fucking, like, listening to my teacher talk about the Mexican Revolution or some bullshit. And then I noticed, like, I felt her looking back at me, and I just did the Tony Almeida look where I was just like, and I kind of like lifted like my chin up a little bit, like, and then just looked back, dude. I didn't even like smile or anything, and I felt, dude, like a fucking badass, you know, because then this actually like a shitty thing, like a very unhealthy behavior, but back then it didn't feel that. I didn't know that. But because I did that, now she was like, oh, is he like upset at me? And so then she reached out, and then I patched my feelings of being unlovable by getting somebody else to fucking like tell me, are you okay, right? Because that's how I did it at 10 years old. I didn't know any other way. It was just like, I feel a certain way. I need somebody to guess that shit. Because if they guess that shit, then it means that I am, dude. If people can read my mind, then it means that I'm lovable, dude. That was the inner dialogue of my 10-year-old self. Yeah, dude. It was crazy, man. It was fucking wild. Like, I don't think I'll ever run out of things to talk about as far as my childhood goes. Yeah. Damn, that took a lot out of me. What else, man? What the fuck else is up? I read there's a memoir, dude, that just came out. I keep saying dude. There's a memoir that just came out, I think, a week ago, maybe. And it's called The Bad One, a memoir about growing up a goat by Aaron Tyler. And it is, you know, top 3 memoirs of all time. Right up there with Nick Sheff and Tweak. And maybe Diary of Anne Frank, or another one that I'm forgetting. But what's different about this one is that it's not just words. Erin Tyler is a book cover designer, and she's, a fucking artiste, dude. Like, she did something with a book that I didn't even know that you could do with a book. Like, I've seen it done. I've seen something like this kind of done with graphic novels. But this was different because it was so emotionally built, and to a point beyond my own understanding. Like, when it's a memoir about, like, a lot of trauma and overcoming that trauma. And when she's going through some of the traumatic parts, the fucking page numbers are inverted. The pages are black. They're just all black. And then she's, like, things are upside down. The drawings get a little bit more abstract. And all of the drawings just... I shouldn't even call them drawings. All of the art looks kind of, it makes you feel how you imagine she felt at the time. And I read it in 2 days. Like, it's one of those books that you can't put down, and that when you finish it, you're like, should I even try to read another book right now? Like, what's the point? That's the only... You can't even call it a downside, but that's the only thing about this book is that, and not just this book, but when you find something like that in any area, right? When you're listening to, like, 3 or 4, let's say, like, hip-hop albums that you really like, and then someone comes along and puts a fucking, like, a real fucking, like, a banger, dude. And then you're like, man, I can't listen to those 4 other albums anymore. And you listen to somebody else's new album too, and you're like, it's not the same anymore. Like, you're just doing the same thing that 3 other people were doing. I really can't praise this book enough. But you have to read the hardcover if you decide to get this book. The other thing is that when I got the book, it didn't feel like a book purchase. It felt like I have something special in my hands, like, and maybe that's because it's a new book and not a lot of people know about it. But it's also, it's kind of heavy, and it's just it's a work of fucking art, man. The cover, you just look at the cover and you're like, whoa. You look at the back and you look at the reviews on the back and you're like, whoa. And then you open it and you just skim through it and you're like, dude, I'm in for a treat. I'm in for a fucking treat. And I don't want it to be over. That's the thing. That's the bad thing. Is like, I don't want this to be over, man. So check that book out. Aaron Tyler, The Bad One. It is beyond my own. I'm going to have to reread it at least 2 or 3 times in the next year because it is beyond anything I even could comprehend could exist. That could be called a book, I would say it's better than a lot of my favorite movies that I've seen. It's better than a lot of documentaries. Better than a lot of I don't know. I just remember, like, think of a movie that you went and saw in theaters. Like, for me, it's like Birdman or Joker or Whiplash. Think of a movie like that you went and saw in theaters, like Inception, that you saw it, and then when it was over, not only were you blown away, but you were also inspired. And you were, like, thinking creatively, like, fuck, dude. Like, it opens your mind up to all the different possibilities. And it gets you going. It's like, damn, what could I do that is new and that is creative and that is different? And it just forces you outside of that sort of like comfort zone that you had gotten into, which is a good place to be in, right? If you're good at that shit, you know. But it's also fun when you see something like that and you're like, wow, I wonder if there's a way that I can innovate as far as storytelling goes. Because storytelling can be books, movies, music, paintings. It could be so many different forms of art. And this book kind of encompasses all of them. You know, there is the element of music. Obviously, there's not, you know, a fucking page that you open and it's like ding, 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 ding. But it's still, it's written so well that it almost feels like you're listening to music at times. And it teaches you, like, there is so much value in that book alone. I can't recommend it enough, but check that shit out if you can. And what am I at on time here? Fucking 40 minutes, man. I got 18 more minutes to go. Yeah. It's been, that's the one thing. It's like, now I'm not reading. I haven't read much since I finished the book. And it's fucking with my habits, right? Because I sleep before bed, and when I finish a really good book, then it's like, then I just roll around in bed, trying to fall asleep, which is such a weird concept when you really sit down and think about it. Like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm just gonna try to do this. You know, nobody knows how to go to sleep. Like, we know how to lie down in bed, close our eyes. We know how to focus on our breath. We know how to read. We know how to do things that help increase our chances of falling asleep. But nobody knows how to fall asleep. Like, nobody can just be like, hey, do you want to watch me fall asleep? Like, I can fall asleep now if you like, and then just be like that's just not, like, somebody could do that, but they'd be lying, right? And so it's so bizarre, like, when I don't have this helpful tool of reading or something to, you know, take my mind off of rumination and those kinds of things. It's like, all right, I'm going to lie down in bed, even though I'm fucking wide awake. I'm going to lie down in bed because it's midnight and I should have been asleep an hour ago if I want to be up at the time that I said I was going to be up at. And then I'm lying in bed and I'm just like, all right, let's see when it happens. You know, just fucking, the pitch black room, you just start thinking about your grandma, and you start thinking about, like, that time that you ate donuts at Pete's Donut Shop with your grandpa and his bifocals and the story he was telling you about the first atomic bomb being detonated in Oregon and him being underground when witnessing it. And then you realize it's 1 a.m. and you're like, man, I'm really not good at this sleeping thing, am I? I don't get it, dude. I don't, like, it's such a weird concept. We don't know how to do something that we have to do if we want to be healthy. And so we just fucking roll around in bed and just wait for it to happen. And And then we're transported to a fucking different dimension where we still kind of have our own thoughts and our own feelings, and there's people that we know, but they're not acting the way that we know them to act, right? And you can do things that you can't do in your normal life, but then you wake up and you don't remember any of it, dude. Who designed that? Like, that is a fucking creative idea, you know? If I came up with that, if this concept of sleep didn't exist and we were all just awake all the time, we were just like robots and fucking like, just fucking plug yourself in every half hour for a half hour a day, and then you're good to go for another 5 days or whatever. If that was the real life and sleep was not a concept, and I was just like, dude, I gotta tell you, I just came up with this idea for a story, man. So picture this. There's this guy, right? And his plug, it breaks and nobody can fix it. So he starts researching other ways to recharge, right? And one of the ways that he learns that he can recharge is if he gets to a state of so much tranquility that his limbs stop operating and he ceases to exist for a certain amount of hours every day, then he can survive. But here's the catch, is that he doesn't know what happened in those 8 hours, but he sort of has an idea of what happened, right? Like, he goes and he goes somewhere. I don't know where. He just goes somewhere, and it's kind of like where he already is, but you know, but he remembers it in bits and pieces, and like, it's such a, dude, you would just tell me to, like, I don't know if I could execute on it maybe, but you would probably just tell me to shut the fuck up, dude, is what you would tell me. Because you'd be like, dude, that's impossible. That's fucking impossible. Nobody can just, oh, my plug is broken, dude. I'm just going to fucking, like, reach this state of ecstasy and lose consciousness for 8 hours. Like, that's not possible, dude. That's not possible. But somehow, everybody does it. We all just sort of pass out on our fucking beds, man. I don't know. Maybe I've just been having some weird fucking dreams. Yeah. I've also been realizing how true it is that we sort of make the past, like the immediate past, better than it felt, you know? Like, you've heard about this before, but in retrospect, things are a lot better than they actually were. Obviously, in some scenarios. I mean, obviously there are the exceptions, but so, like, I went to Illinois, and I remember that when I was in Illinois, I remember that when I was in Illinois, I remember that when I was in Illinois. Now, I remember that when I was in Illinois. Dude, that's like a fucking tongue twister. Try to say, I remember that when I was in Illinois. I remember that when I was in Illinois. That's a good, like a first line for a rap. I remember that when I was in Illinois. It's hard to say, dude. In Illinois. In Illinois, in Illinois, dude. I'm just gonna drive myself fucking crazy, dude. Have you ever done that? You just sit down and you're like, Illinois. That's a weird word. Illinois. You just start saying the same word until it becomes like an abstract thing, like vacuum. But I remember that I was in Illinois, and fucking day 3 or 4, I was like ready to leave. Not because of anything negative about it, but just because I underestimated my ability to not have my own space. And to not be eating like the food that I like to eat, dude, like healthy shit. I was eating McDonald's and fucking bagels with sugar and cinnamon. Like I was eating fucking Cheerios and all that shit. But then last week, I was remembering Illinois, and I was like, dude, could I just go back there, dude? Could I just go back to Illinois for like another little stint? Maybe it is. It was a simpler time, but we have a hard time with simpler times because we're so used to this frenetic fucking energy of like the rapid pace and never stopping because it helps us to fucking avoid our emotions. But I've just realized, like, dude, you're just running, man. That's one of the questions I've been asking myself. We'll wrap this up with that fucking segment. Is like questions I've been asking myself. Is what am I running from? And I think right now, what am I running from? Right? Why do I have this idea of like, dude, I want to leave where I am. It doesn't matter if it's Illinois. It doesn't matter if it's Austin. It doesn't matter where it is. Why do I have this idea that leaving will make me feel better? What am I running from? And, I haven't sat down to actually brainstorm this. So this is my first time answering this to myself. But I think what I'm running away from right now is... And I don't know. Maybe I don't even need to call it running away from. But the thing is that I'm hard on myself, and so I always think that I'm running away from things. I think right now, I think everybody's running away from childhood trauma to some extent, unconsciously at times. I think part of it is that, there's definitely a lot of trauma from my childhood that I'm not done processing. But specifically to my present day, what am I running away from? Maybe I'm running away from responsibility. Maybe I'm running away from rejection. And the reason I pick those two is because I don't want to get another job yet. And a lot of that is because of my last job, right? But so I don't know if that's responsibility, but it's like, dude, you gotta make money somehow, right? And I'm sort of running away from that right now because I've got money saved up, and so I don't need the money necessarily. I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm running away from a feeling of being trapped and fucking getting another job. Because I always tell myself, if I get a job, if I don't like it, I could just quit. But then you get it, and you're like, damn, I'm making like $400 or $500 a week here. I'm gonna just fucking go back to like square one again. Is it really that bad? And then you start to rationalize. Maybe that's what it is. I'm running away from my inability not to rationalize things. Or not to rationalize my inability to not rationalize my way out of painful situations. I don't know. That was probably very confusing and abstract to you, but the rejection thing is like, I mean, I've been trying to go on dates, but it feels like it's gotten harder again because there's, a spike in coronavirus cases, and so people don't want to go outside anymore. And people just don't want to go out in general. But I've noticed, when I do go on a date and I meet somebody that I do have chemistry with and I do hit it off with, a lot of things then take a back seat to that. And maybe I'm not running away from it. Maybe I just want to prioritize those other things. And I know that I'm not in a place where I can have both at the same level, you know? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself. But it feels like, you know, I feel like by default, men just want to be with people, to be with women. And to be like... maybe not biologically, but just by default, where I grew up, maybe I was made to assume that, you know, if you're not with somebody, you're not doing it right. You know, just the other night I was talking to a buddy of mine and he was like, "So you got a girl yet?" And I was like, "Of course, this is one of your first questions." But yeah, it's hard to. When you meet somebody, for me it is, when I meet somebody that I actually care about the outcome with, that's maybe what I'm running away from, is a lack of control. Because you can't control those kinds of things, you know. And if you do try to, then shit just doesn't work out. And I've been down that road, and I don't want to go back down that same road, you know. But it's like you gotta try that shit if you're gonna ever get better at it. Maybe, I don't know. And so I don't know where you draw the line. And I guess, you know, I just keep trying. I keep trying to go on dates, and I keep meeting people. You know, I think I talked about on one of the podcasts recently that I met a girl, and then it was like very positive, and then after the second date, it was just fucking gone. But I didn't know why, and then that's hard to wrap my head around, and it's hard to sit with. It's just fucking running away from emotions, dude. That's what it is. I just hate that because it feels like a blanket statement, you know. Because any time that I feel like I'm running away from something, I could just be like, yeah, I'm just running away from emotions. And it's like, but that's fucking... I know that is what it is at the core, but flesh it out a little bit, you know. What emotions? What are you afraid of? Yeah. But I don't know. I put myself in this position where I was like, I don't want to work at this restaurant. I have to find an apartment by September. There's a pandemic going on. And so I got rid of my income. There's a pandemic, which makes it harder to get a new income in some situations, right? Some people would argue that it doesn't. And then if I don't have an income, it's harder to find an apartment. And I just told myself, dude, like, you're running away from change. And I didn't want to be doing that. So now I'm here. And we're always going to be running away from shit. It's not easy to confront everything. But I keep trying to remind myself, dude, that it's a good thing and it's a good place where I am right now, even if it doesn't feel that way all of the time, because nothing's going to feel that way all of the time, you know? Especially, dude, if you don't have a job, just think about one of these things alone would induce anxiety on anyone. Not having a job, there being a pandemic, being alone during a pandemic, not knowing where your next job is going to come from, not knowing where you're going to live a month and a half from now. There are a lot of those. Just one of those things is enough. But that's, I don't know, dude. I'm giving this fucking concept of surrendering and letting go a try. And I think it comes with ups and downs. Sometimes you're going to feel like, dude, fuck yeah. Like when I came back from Illinois, I was fucking ready to go, man. I was ready to go, and I was doing a bunch of very productive things. I was sitting with my emotions. I was doing all that. And then there's the down, and it's like you start to doubt yourself a little bit. And you start to doubt, just fucking let that be, Maybe next week I'll be back on my high horse, That's, I've said this 4 or 5 times already, but maybe that's what I'm running from, is just accepting what is and not trying to make what is what was or what will be, which is just a fancy way of saying like being in the present. Because it's hard to be in the present when the present is uncertain, but it's also the most rewarding, like fucking yesterday / last night-ish, I was just hanging out. It's my day off. Saturday, my weekends are now like my days off. Even though I don't have a job, I'm still using my Monday through Friday to do, 10 to 4:30, 10 to 5-ish, do productive things that could help me, maybe start a business or make more money on my books, sell more books, help more people with my writing, all these things, right? So Saturday and Sundays are my days off where I don't do any of those things. And so I'm just hanging out, and I'm on my phone, and I match with a girl on a dating app. And then in the span of 30 minutes, I went from, I'm going to go for a walk, to, I got to get on the bus, dude, and go to the park because I'm about to go drink wine with this person that I didn't even know existed 30 minutes ago. And things like that can't happen when your life is so set in stone. And you don't have, it could be set in stone, but if you don't have any pockets of uncertainty and like time for spontaneity, beautiful things like that can't happen. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to fucking I hate fucking how much I say the word fucking. But I'm over the hour mark, and at this point maybe I'm just rambling. Who cares what a 24-year-old kid's got to say, Johnny? Get your head out of your ass. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think a lot of people are going through the same thing, so maybe it helps to hear that I'm going through the same thing, I've got ups and downs, dude, and that's normal. And I think we villainize when we have ups and downs. It's like, oh, well, she's unstable. She's a fucking unstable person. And it's like, dude, we're all unstable. We're on a fucking spinning globe, or a flat piece of shit if you think that the globe is flat, dude. And we don't know a thing about the world. We have ideas about it, but we don't know shit, man. And, you could go outside tomorrow, fucking trip on a leaf, and crack your skull open on the sidewalk and die, dude. And then it would be over, right? And then nothing would matter. Or an asteroid could hit. Like, nobody knows shit, man. And so yeah, just allow those ups and downs to come. I'm trying. It's hard. But understand that it's hard, and that it's okay if it's fucking hard, And yeah, man. Thank you for listening, man or woman. I say man because that's just my default fucking algorithmic way of speaking. Thank you for listening. I hope you had fun. This has been The Pupil's Life, and I will see you next week. Thank you, guys.